My name is Maddie Hawk. I'm a campus success consultant representing the Campus Groups product in Ready Education's portfolio of lovely student success products. I have with me today Laura from the University of Missouri for making Campus Groups the one-stop shop for all student activities. So is everyone in the right place? Yeah. All right. I assume so. Awesome. Just a little bit about the session. So in this session, we will discuss how to get academic departments, offices, and other areas around campus interested in using Campus Groups. Laura will share the most important functionality that gets people excited about using Campus Groups, as well as how they onboard new areas. So Mizzou has done a wonderful job of making Campus Groups that one-stop shop for all student activities. And so Laura's just going to share a little bit about how you can too. A little bit about Laura. I'll let her introduce herself beyond what she's provided in her bio. But she is the Senior Student Services Coordinator for MU Engage in Mizzou 1. She is a Senior Student Service Coordinator. Oh, I already just said that. That's okay. I'm just reading. In her role, she oversees the management and expansion of 2 student engagement platforms. And she graduated from Mizzou with a BHS in Health Sciences and began her career in 2020. What an interesting time to begin. Awesome. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share some housekeeping things. You can tell that the afternoon has hit me as well. If you have not explored our event hub already, I definitely encourage you to do so. This will give you an opportunity to continue to connect with people that have engaged throughout Rendezvous today. And then the event feed, all of that important updates you can check out there. Hashtag if you want to take a screenshot and share it on your Twitter, on campus, whatever you want. Just go ahead and use ReadyEd RDV23. And then always pushing our CG user community to use and engage throughout the year beyond Rendezvous. So now, I promise, without further ado, I'll let Laura start her presentation. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So like Maddie said, I manage 2 student engagement platforms at the University of Missouri, and MU Engage is our Campus Groups platform. I did graduate from Mizzou, and I have a dog, so I had to share a photo here, especially in the introduction. Everyone saw the dog, so I had to do that here. And like Maddie also said, I started my position a day and a half before COVID shut the world down, so my entire onboarding process was very interesting. So I'm sure some people can relate to that. A little bit about Mizzou. We are a part of a 4-campus system, and we are the flagship campus. And all 4 are on Campus Groups, which is very exciting for us. We have more than 30,000 undergraduate students, 5,000 graduate professional students, and 300 degree programs. So we have a lot of students that are using our site, which is very exciting. We have 500 student-led registered campus organizations on Campus Groups, and 100 campus departments as well. And most of those have come on within the past year. So one thing I want to kind of mention and talk about. So I have a QR code here, and Maddie will put the link in the chat if you can fill out this little poll that I have, just to know what department on your campus you work with. My office is under the registrar, and so that is unique that I am aware of, or fairly unregular. And we're able to reach out to many different campus departments and areas and offices on campus. And I have been told that being in the registrar's office helps us do that a little bit. And that also allows us to have a dedicated coordinator that manages the platform day to day, which also I think helps a lot on our continued growth and usage of the platform, because we're able to be very readily available to provide some assistance. I'm going to see if we have any submissions really quick. All right, so it looks like most of us are in student affairs, which is pretty fitting. Student life, communications, and marketing. So yeah, really cool to see how we all kind of fit in. Thank you. So for Mizzou, we got onto Campus Groups last July, actually. And so one of the biggest things for us was when we were choosing an engagement solution to change to, we really wanted to look at what the students were actually interested in, what they were using, because we wanted to make sure that it was a better platform for them. They weren't losing anything, they were only gaining. And some of those things that really stuck out to our students was events and events attendance tracking, and that has to be simple and easy to use. Forms and being able to put in logic and workflows, and also again, just easy to use for them, easy to share, easy to access. Emails with opens and clicks was also a huge thing for our student leaders, and also giving control back to the students. In the past, a lot of our functionality has been limited to administrators, and that limited what the students were able to do and how they were able to grow their own groups. And so we love about Campus Groups that we're able to give that control and access back into the students' hands. And going along with the attendance tracking, another big one for us is the QR code. We didn't have that in the past, and I'm sure we all know students don't always bring their student ID card. They lose it, they forget it, they don't have it. And so swiping into events wasn't always the easiest. And also typing students' information in is not very easy either. So the QR code was another thing that our students really enjoyed. And to be honest, I would say 99% of the people on campus that are tracking attendance are only using the QR code. They're not even using IDs anymore, because that functionality has just really changed how we track attendance. Another way we got student buy-in was we required all of our student organizations that wanted to receive funding or any of the free services that our Office of Student Organizations offered. They had to go through a registration process through our platform. And that was another way that we just kind of introduced those students into using it. Once they did that registration, part of it was training and how to use it, what kind of the key features. And that was great for us to get so many student organizations involved. And also roster management goes along with this, especially for our fraternity and sorority life. That was another way we kind of hit some more students and kind of captured them multiple times, was making their rosters active and using that across other systems too, to track in-house and all of those other requirements that we track. Part of also having the students do their registration on our campus groups is they also then were able to create their own events and their meetings and their practices and socials and track attendance that way. That's also another way they are able to receive their funding, or if they have to put in specific contracts that they have to sign to do some of their socials or events, they're able to do all of that in one place rather than having to go to all of these separate sites and upload one document in another place, request funding in another area. They were able to all just come into one spot. And then another part of that was partnering with our fun events that we have on campus. Some of those are Stuff to Do, which is our campus activities programming board, and they're the ones that put on all of the fun events on campus. So we brought Brittany Broski last semester. We have painting activities, late night food, all concerts, so many different things. And so partnering with them and having them put those events on campus groups was huge for us, because students don't always want to have to find the just general meetings or things that they go to every single week. They want to find those fun, different things. And so that is another thing that drove students to our platform, and being able to expand that use as well. Same thing goes with Greek Week and Homecoming. Those are two different times of the year for us. And having them promote their events on our platform and posting them on our homepage was also huge for them. Both of those also do elections, and that's another thing that we've been able to adopt campus-wide. All of the elections that happen are done through our campus groups, and so we're able to capture a lot bigger student population that way. And we also have our student government. They do all of their elections as well on campus groups, and so that was another way we could reach out and get all of those different students. The last thing is we have an integration with our campus calendar. And again, same thing of just going to one place and not having to go to all of these different websites and put things in. Because if you're creating an event, you're creating it the exact same name, same description, all of that. Students weren't always going and putting it in all of the places. So because we have that integration now, they just put it in campus groups and we feed it into the campus calendar, which then can feed out even more depending on how it's built out. And that was another big thing for us to be able to do. So after we got student buy-in, the next thing was getting our campus departments to want to use it. So aside from just our student organizations, a big thing for us was kind of feeding into what I just mentioned, the campus calendar. That was one of our biggest things, that they weren't wanting to always have to go to the campus calendar to do, because it can sometimes be a little bit less user-friendly. You have to request certain admin access to be able to create certain types of events. And with Engage, if they have a group, they're able to just do it on their own and not request any additional information or access. And that was another big one for us. And then that also, like I said, feeds into the campus department calendars on their own websites. And so they just put it in one place. They can direct students to campus groups, and then it'll feed on into other areas. Another thing we did was we identified the different tools that campus departments are using and that they're needing and that are requirements for what they're doing in their outreach to students, and kind of focusing on the ones that they might pay for separately or out of their own budgets, and that we would offer for free because it's already purchased and paid for through the university, and really focus on those and promote those specifically, because then once we kind of got them hooked on one thing, then they see all the different options and functionality they could use and really start using everything. So we kind of get them in on one thing. Our biggest one that we would do is events, because students are all going to campus groups to find events, and they're going to their advisors and their teachers, and they're talking to them about, I went to campus groups to find my event. I'm not able to find all these other events because they're in all these different places. So getting that student buy-in was huge for them to kind of also assist us in growing to campus departments. And then we did outreach. So we would contact the areas that we knew that were kind of the students were mainly focused with. One of the biggest ones that we've had recently is the Office of Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity. They were having a lot of different resources and platforms and other websites that they're sending students for their forms, their emails, their recognition programs, and all of those. And so we were able to bring them on and centralize all of them into our platform by using events and attendance tracking and forms and emails. Those are our biggest three that we kind of push. They also are one of the biggest components and users of tracks and checklists, because they have some programs that students work through for all 4 years they're here, and they're able to track that progress through the platform as well, which was very helpful for them. Another one that we really got onto recently is the business school. They were in the past just writing down their check-ins for their events and their checkouts, and then we're manually putting it in an Excel spreadsheet and tracking it that way. And I'm sure we all can imagine how time-consuming that is and how quick it is to use campus groups for those things. And so kind of explaining them and demoing and showing them how quick it can be done was kind of what first got their attention. And another thing about coming over to campus groups for us is we have wanted to kind of combine our platforms in the past, but the functionality just wasn't there to support what they were needing, especially with the QR codes and the checkouts. And so once we came over to campus groups, that was a huge expansion for us to being able to do all of these extra functionality, the points, tracks and checklists, QR codes, all of those great things, and loop everything in and how everything is connected as well. That was another great one for us with the business school. And then also with the QR codes, also being able to do surveys and event feedback forms, all automatic, because that was another thing that they were emailing and hand typing and all of those things. So that was great. And the cool thing about having the business school coming onto our campus groups is this is an academic graduation requirement for all of the business students. So that is another great way that we're able to expand our use of students just from those students that are involved in those student organizations and fraternity and sorority life, and then bringing them on as well from the academic side. And also getting the business school on board, we were able to expand into the business school study abroad program, and then they were able to promote all of their info sessions and events and everything for those study abroad programs, as well as the application as well. We're all able to come over and transfer, which was, again, another big win, having the whole business school in there. The other thing that we kind of focused on, aside from events when we were bringing on campus departments, is the emails and the forms, like I had mentioned, because they were paying for third-party softwares outside of their own budgets. And so being able to tell them you can save all of this money by using this great platform that you can actually do more with, and you can link within it as well, which was also another great one for us. Another one that we really promoted for our campus departments is the CCT, and that you don't have to use your events for a real event. You can have an event. We have a lot of students that go to the Capitol and they do presentations, or they'll go to different places around campus, town, the state, and present at different groups and organizations. And being able to track that through an event and just limit the access and then put that attendance in, and then that was able to show on the CCT was another great big one that they were able to expand into as well, especially groups like IDE, Business School, all of those other ones, because they're able to then not just use it for an event that's maybe campus wide. It can be a lot more specific and internalized as well, and track that, because using the CCT is huge when students are trying to find their jobs and their internships and all of those things. So that was another great one that we did. The last thing that I kind of want to mention for campus departments is our trainings and the support we're able to offer. So one of the things that we do that we think is very helpful is when we first meet with the group and we kind of know they're going to come over and use our platform, the first meeting is a training. So we schedule an hour long, we talk to them, kind of get the feel of what they need. 9 times out of 10, the biggest thing they want is events and event attendance tracking. And so we just show them right then and there, here's how you do your events. We kind of point out some of the key features and tools that they might want to use, how they might use it, come up with specific examples that they could use, and really show them and how to use the platform, and then briefly kind of go over all of the other tools and say, if you want additional training, we're happy to do that. But doing the events right away has really allowed our campus departments to immediately start using the platform rather than doing a quick introduction. Okay, here's how you can use it, general information. They're able to jump in and start using it that day. And we find that that is another big one for our campus departments. The quicker they can use it, the more long-term they're using it as well, and continue that growth. And then also once you get one area, then they talk and they start kind of going on too, which is always really cool. So to expand upon the training opportunities that we do for our students and faculty and staff is we do our own branded training videos. And we think that this is really huge, especially for our campus, because even though the functionality kind of all works the same, the colors are different, and that matters to students. And so when they're able to see exactly how it's going to look for them, or at least as close as possible it's going to look for them, we do that. Our videos are usually 5 to 8 minutes long. They're pretty short. It's just kind of quick in there, kind of key features, things to notice, things maybe not to do sometimes. And we also link that on our homepage, and that's just a page that's always there. That is the managing your group on the picture. And as we create new videos, we put in that videos onto that news article, and then that is also public. And so students don't have to log on to then see it. That's another thing. We want certain things just accessible for them to be able to always access. And so, like I said, we always are updating that. And so students know if I need to learn how to do something, and faculty and staff as well, that they just go to this managing your group page and they can see everything. And we kind of get very specific in there. We have some broad ones, but we do how to track attendance, how to create a form, how to do logic in a form, and how those are two different things. Very specific training for them as well. And we walk them through step by step. And then another thing that we do, like I said, with the onboarding, is we do that training immediately with them rather than make them wait. Also, it's hard to find time on people's calendars. So that's another reason why we really like to get right in front of them and do that as well. The other thing that we do is like I said, we have that dedicated coordinator. And so our dedicated coordinator is able to quickly respond and troubleshoot any concerns or questions that might come about. We have a lot of people that as they're in a meeting or as they're in an event, they realize, oh, I want to check out and I don't know how to do that, we're able to quickly kind of jump in and respond very quickly. And that's been another big one for us in our continued growth, is that they know if you want to use it, go ahead and use it, and you can get it into it too. Another thing that we do that is all faculty and staff and all students automatically have an account once they enroll at the university or once their employment starts. And so there's no barrier for them to have to request access. Once they get their login credentials, they're able to go on and access everything and join groups and request through officer status if they need that. And they're able to just go ahead and go in. There's, again, kind of limiting that barrier as well for them and their access. So the top 5 takeaways for us and why I think we've been able to be successful is we assessed the needs for a solution when we were coming over to Campus Groups and exactly what our students were needing and what they're looking for. Again, we didn't want them to lose anything. We only wanted them to gain. And I think we were very successful for that. And so, like I said, we really focused on events, attendance, forms, and emails. Because even though not every group uses that, those are our couple of functionality that's used the most. Identify campus processes and leverage platform tools. So it kind of goes into the same thing. What's being used, what areas are using which tools. So we know for our FSL, they're really using events and roster management. Student organization is using budgets and the re-registrations. Our Mizzou Rec, which is our rec complex, is using them for practices and some of their classes. And then also those campus partners, which is partner with super users, which is our welcome week, our stuff to do, our homecoming, our homecoming Greek week, and MSA, our student government. Another thing for the super users that we did is our welcome week, which is our freshmen kind of their first week on campus. Once they move in, there's a week long of events and meetings with advisors and their different schools that they do. And we're able to partner with them and put all of those events on Campus Groups. And so as soon as those freshmen come in their dorm rooms, there's a brochure that says download the app, log on to Campus Groups, start using the platform, find groups, find organizations, find your events, and they're able to really get a good sense of the platform within that first week because, like I said, they have their academic departments are hosting open houses and meet with advisors. All of that is posted to Campus Groups, as well as the fun activities. So go get pizza for free, go get ice cream. There's a couple of fun things that all of the freshmen do every year. And so those are all on Engage or on Campus Groups as well. And so they're really getting for that first full week, really kind of dumped into Campus Groups and really using it. And again, they're using our apps. And then, like I said, again, prepare branded training resources. I think having those just set up, that's a summer project that we do. And then we really focus on that during academic breaks, because that's when we have a little bit more time to focus on that and just record them. It's really easy to do and post them. We post them onto YouTube, so then we can share that link publicly. We can then put it onto our Campus Group site. Other areas are able to share that themselves as well. And where they're able to know exactly what they need to do. And then as they do elections and officers change, they're able to not have to worry about putting in their binders, how they did things. They're able to just say, go to Campus Groups and watch those videos. And then prove that it works. So for us, we are able to, since switching, our platform usage during that welcome week, the freshman first week they're there, we more than doubled our uses. We were at about 12,000 in 2021, and now we're at 22,000 for this past year. So that was a really great thing. And then also with the app that we have, we got 4,000 app downloads just during that welcome week period. And so again, students are really in there, especially using that QR code. We really tell students just use the app. It's a lot easier for them right there. All right, and then last, I'm going to give another bonus is share your excitement and be an advocate for the platform. I always kind of approach the platform as here's what it can do and help you. And here's all of the different ways and specific opportunities that they can use the platform. And I also always kind of end my little meetings with them and I say, but I'm not biased, because I am, but they always kind of like that. But they're able to really see that I use the platform when in my own office. We use the platform to conduct surveys and forms and polls just within our own staff. And so I'm able to kind of show that as an example for them. I'm also able to share what other offices and areas and students are telling me. So kind of the other surveys, forms, and email options out there, I'm having people tell me that they're completely shutting it down. So I'm able to share that as I go into new areas and offices and share that with them as well. And then also the attendance rate just in general has gone up as well. And I'm being told that as well from all of our campus leaders that they, the last year during Welcome Week, their pizza party more than tripled this year. And so they're able to actually prove that they're getting more things. And so just kind of be excited and share maybe how you're using it and how other people are telling you they're using it, because then it also gives them all ideas as well. So that's what I have.
Laura, thanks. That's awesome. I think you've done a wonderful job, like you shared, of making sure that your campus group site is the centralized location, is the place to be to find out what's going on. And so, like you said, you're layering that, early student adoption, and students are helping communicate with departments, and, it kind of all goes hand in hand. So there's a couple people in our chat right now who have a couple questions and comments for you. If you don't mind answering those, I'll go ahead and read those aloud to you. But thank you again for sharing all that. I really appreciate it. And I can attest that Laura's done some really great work in making sure that this is all successful. So really proud of her. They said the resource page is awesome. I show that to a number of my clients when they're trying to figure out where do I even start when it comes to creating some internalized training. So if you're interested, yeah, definitely take a look at that. And then I've got a question from Sarah. What platform does your university use for your campus calendaring system?
We use Localist.
Awesome. Easy peasy. Localist. And then Sarah, I can also give you a help article that kind of goes into how to utilize the RSS feeds to make that connection essentially. And so building off of that a little bit, Laura, if you do know, how do you determine what events go to the campus calendar? Are you using the API for this integration?
Yeah, so we are using API, and we have a partnership with our SIS, Student Information Systems, on campus because they're the really smart ones. So they're the ones that are able to set it up. So yes, we do use that. And one of the biggest determinations for us is they have to follow two things that we tell them, again, in the trainings. The event has to be public, the location has to be public, and the event itself has to be public for us to be able to push. So also, if they don't want to share it, then they don't have to do those two things. And then we also do remove all events that are titled meetings or chapter, just because those are kind of a weekly occurrence and it can kind of clog it up. Other than that, we push everything. And then from there, we can push again further to academic departments as well.
Awesome. Great question. And then I've got a comment here from Mercedes. Thank you. Tracking non-events via events page, conferences attendance is a great idea. They're also thinking of tracking alumni business cards during our seminar. Mercedes, do you have any additional kind of comments on that? But I do think that's a great idea. It's a really easy way to make sure that your students are essentially, quote unquote, getting credit for the things they're doing, not necessarily host on campus, but maybe experiences and things like that. So that's something that's also tracked by our CCT feature, something called experiences. So students can edit and make sure that those are included in their comprehensive co-curricular transcript that's offered through the system. Laura and her team has been really great in offering ideas and suggestions to our product team in terms of making sure that that CCT is up to par for what they need. And so, as you work with your CSC, definitely provide that feedback and, have those brainstorming sessions. What's going to work for you and what's going to work for your campus. Laura did want to leave a significant amount of time for questions, and I really want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask her questions, knowing that she is in a unique spot of being in the registrar's office. So Elizabeth, I see you unmuted. Did you have a question?
Well, I did. Going back to the integration with Localist as your calendar, are you mapping your event tags and type 1-to-1, or is there just an exchange there?
There is a small exchange there, and we have kind of set up what those mean. But when it comes to our event types, they're a little bit more limited. Our event tags are pretty expansive, so we're not pushing so much event tags into Localist, just
Okay.
most of the event type.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Laura, did you, just something that I thought of, did you experience any barriers when you were talking with departments, kind of any pushback, and how did you overcome saying, oh, well, I use Google Forms, I use Eventbrite? What kind of things did you say that really got them hooked into using Campus Groups?
Yeah, so of course we know change is always difficult and not everyone wants to change. We like what we do and we know how to do it. So what I would just do is I would kind of just show them, and once I could get that meeting with them, and like I said, I would kind of start with just the event piece and then expand from there, especially into the forms. So then I would kind of try to get an understanding of the department and the office and kind of think about what they could do. I would poke around on their website, poke around in their group, kind of see what they're doing already, and give them very specific options of what they can do, how they can use the logic to specific for them. If they wanted to do a workflow, how they could bring all of those in. And another thing was the free and how it all links in together was another big one, that they don't have to then link into a Google form, then link to a SurveyMonkey, and then link over to something else. It all links back into each other. And able to show them, then we were able to get over. I mean, there were people, of course, maybe by the third or fourth meeting, I was able to get them to switch over for forms. But I sometimes I had to work a little bit harder, but I was always able to finally convince them once I showed them all of the different tools that they had available to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Adding another tool to your toolkit, right?
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, and having it make sense too. Like all the users that should have access to this particular survey are likely going to be in your instance. Like you said, as soon as they enroll, they have a profile within your site. And so it's that really easy connection. They're here, they're they're ready to receive this information. They already use this as their kind of one-stop shop in their hub. So it's a great way to sell it. Does anyone else have any other questions about, getting students on the platform? Ooh, I see one from Steve. Try to show attendance or Pulse Connect. Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point, Steve.
We do that. And we do something very similar for our fraternity and sorority life. In order to be able to, they have a lot of different rules in FSL, and I don't know all of them. But all of the contracts that they have to upload, and then a lot of them have to have their attendance tracked in order for them to then be able to do another event, because they have to do all of that in campus groups as well. And then it's also easy for all of the staff to know where to go as well. So that was another big one for them. Their staff didn't have to learn 4 different sites. They just had to go to one place. We're able to do all of that too.
Yes, we have a full fraternity sorority life staff in addition who's managing those specific student organizations, and it's been something of a struggle to get them at a buy-in at first, but now they're coming around to it because like you said, they do have a lot of different rules and that are different from other kinds of student organizations. But yeah, it's getting there.
True.
We also did something similar with our rec. They have a lot of different club sports that they have to track their practice, and also all of their driver contracts. They have a couple of other contracts as well. And all of their practice has to be conducted through campus groups as well. And then that also allows them to then book the space in the rec to then have more practices. So that was another way we were able to get the students required to use it in one way, and then they want to use it for other ways as well.
Yeah, like folding in processes that are already a process on campus and just making it a part of campus groups has been really successful. So like re-registration or student group registration is a really easy way to say, okay, this is a process that you go through every year. now it's hosted through the site, so they get introduced to all the wonderful features that they have as an officer. And Laura, I love what you said at the beginning of the presentation, kind of giving some of that ownership back to student leaders. They have so many tools that they can use within the site that they don't need to ask, essentially, to utilize, like email, like creating events, like, posting within the feed. And so as soon as they recognize all of that is at their fingertips, it can really take off. Like Steve said, that initial hook could be a little hard. An initial, okay, we have all these tools for you. Let's go ahead and use these. Can be difficult, but once they're in, they're definitely in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, beyond just even tracking attendance and things like that, Laura and I would have conversations about how students could use that reporting and present that to, future opportunities like internships or jobs. So using that CCT or using the reporting from when they were a leader within their student group, they could pull the attendance data, show how, their leadership had impacted all of these different things for their individual student groups. So I think our platform does a really great job of capturing all that data. And so encouraging them to use that for, making meaning of their experience while they're there is also really important.
And Maddie, you said reporting, so that reminded me of something else that we were able to give back to the students is the ability to pull their own reports based on their rosters and their event attendance. That was something in the past that if they wanted a report, they had to get it from the admin level, and students weren't really doing that. It was kind of a barrier. And so they're able to get a lot more data out of those reports than just general name, ID, email. We have some data that we pull in through our SIS feed that they're able to specifically see now.
Ooh, great question, Sarah. Does anyone have any strong student org CG training example they could share? Sarah, I also have, so I'm going to find your email. I have a laundry list of things that you could utilize in student officer training that, one, are prepared by our team, and then two, there's a resource that we have on our help center where other campuses have contributed templates to training or student leader training, things like that. So I'll be sure to find that lovely little email. And if anyone else would like that, you're welcome to put raise your hand in the chat, and I'll go ahead and include you on that too. Ooh, okay, see, man, got it.
We put our student org training that's required for the re-registration in a tracks and checklist as well. Mm-hmm. So they have to watch it within CampusGroups, watch the whole video, then they have a quiz that they have to then pass, and they can take it many times. So we have some students that take it 30 times. I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. And they're able to then get approved based on that too.
Awesome. Michelle, I see your hands raised. I want to make sure that you get your question answered. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure that I didn't have a specific question. You said to raise your hand, but I see everybody's putting in their email, so I'll go ahead and do that.
that was my bad. I'm going to own that was a bad instruction to give.
I follow directions very specifically.
You did? And in my email, I'll note that.
I have another question too.
Yeah.
If you said that you're sorry, dog. Scare me. You're booking rooms, your students are booking rec space. Are you using the room functionally within CampusGroups, or are you using a different an integrated room?
Yeah, so we don't have an integration right now with the rec. They do all of that specifically through the rec. Okay. Our rec loves to work very kind of complicated on different things. So that's one of them. But they have to have the different requirements done in CampusGroups. And we're able to use those administrative tags and tag student groups if they're unable to do something for a reason. We can tag them so we know on the back end. I see a question in the chat. So how we create our trainings, I'm sure there's a better way, but we just hop on a Zoom and share screen, record it, click through, save it, upload it to YouTube. We have a YouTube account that we call MU Engage, and then we share that link onto CampusGroup. So I bet there's a probably more sophisticated way to do it, but that's easy and it works for us. So we just do Zoom.
All right. Oops, Steve.
Oh, sorry. We do our trainings live on Teams. They might have been virtual at one point, but I mean, yeah, there's no, they're live on Teams, if that makes sense. Even with just off them bi-weekly for a campus of 50,000 students, sounds like it wouldn't be nearly enough. But even just getting them to the first meeting is something of an obstacle in the first place. It's close to the final exam week, and I'm still getting into how do I start a new student organization? Here's the link. We'll build out the summer schedule. It's going to thin out in a little while, but it's there. It's year round.
Yeah, absolutely. And Laura made a good point too. Centralizing that into a checklist can be really helpful since it's accessible right on their homepage, and that left-hand menu for officer training could be helpful as well. We do have a couple minutes left. Are there any final questions that we have for Laura? Laura also says thank you. Oh, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Yes. Sorry, I have a lot of questions. So how, with Localist and that integration and that whole project of integrating, how long did that take? What was your time frame for that project for your university calendar?
So we had that integration set up with our old platform. And so getting that set up initially, we used the summer to do it. We probably could have done it a little bit quicker. The hardest part was just SIS already had the APIs. And so the hardest part was just figuring out what did we want to push and what did we not want to push. And then once we did that, it was, I mean, I'm not the integration person, so to me, it was pretty seamless. But once we did the switch over to CampusGroups, it was just kind of a switch of the API and it was live. So we didn't have any downtime.
That's good. Really good.
Yeah, the hardest part is getting SIS set up initially, but once it's set up, it works pretty well.
We're in the middle of a project like that, and we're in this what do, what not, and we're in this everything, not everything, but campus groups will be part of that program.
We update our, we change what we push quite a bit. We used to push all of those meetings and chapters, and then we decided that it was just too much, so we removed them. So that's the other thing I love is that we can edit it as we go and make different decisions depending on how the platform grows as well.
That's really good. Thank you. Great presentation today.
Thank you. I see athletics department. So yes, the answer is it has kind of been an issue. We do have some athletic events that are posted. I believe our spring football game was posted on there. But generally they're not, they're just kind of their own entity. But we have also started slowly integrating into the president's office, and they've put a couple of events on there, which is another big centralized thing for us as well, getting some of those over. But yeah, athletics isn't 100% over on our platform either. But we also focus mainly on student orgs, so.
I can touch on Sarah, who just asked that question. We're looking at the same thing because our athletics use sidearm. So our plan is to try to integrate that coming into CampusGroups and then out to the public calendar. That's the thought. We're not there yet.
Absolutely. Well, I see that we're coming up on time, 2:45, and I want to make sure that people have a screen break and then could potentially go into some happy hour lounges at, 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's when happy hour starts, I guess, in Ohio in the Midwest. So, but yes, that does, with this presentation, that concludes our formal programming today. So on behalf of our entire team here at Ready Education, I just want to make sure that you know that we are grateful for all of you. So thank you so much for attending.